medical doctors are basically acute trained. That we're more chronically oriented, So
Uh,
we're dealing with things that have come on over time, things that have come on in a short period of time. Usually are better and quite often trained medically, you
mhm.
know. So the less time you have, the more medicine you need. The more time you have, the more healing you need. This is why medicine doesn't cure. There's no cure because the whole point of it is palliation.
Mhm.
So you have something, they make you feel good, but you still have it
Mhm.
until you die or from it or whatever. Where which our goal is to tap into that dynamic animating process that we all have if we're alive.
Is presented for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or prescribe for any medical or psychological condition, or to prevent, treat, mitigate, or cure such conditions. This information is only presented here for entertainment and educational purposes only.
Good morning and welcome to the show. I'm David DeHaas, your host of the Whole Body Detox Show from the Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Where each week we bring you the health information to help you understand the simple healing secrets you can use to keep your body well, allowing you to live a healthy life so you enjoy every minute you are here on earth. Living Waters Wellness Center was formed after we discovered how to heal my body from multiple symptoms, including allergies, asthma, chronic fatigue, back pain, psoriasis, acne, hives, yeast infections, and finally cancer. After 20 years of trying numerous different treatments, supplements, cleanses, iridology, muscle therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, acupressure, homeopathy, naturopathy, those experiences let us discover the recipe that became known as the Four Natural Laws of Healing, combining multiple natural healing modalities to fully detox and cleanse the body, and then allowing the body to take the perfect nutrition to fully restore the body back to its innate health. This became known as the 10-day healing retreat. We've helped thousands of people get their health restored so they can live their life to the fullest extent. There is no reason for you to suffer from anything. Once you learn the Four Natural Laws of Healing and follow those, it has been my experience and belief that you can heal from anything. You can learn more about that at livingwaterscleanse.com. Click on the link, the video, Four Natural Laws of Healing. Good morning, everyone. David DeHaas from Living Waters Wellness Center, where miracles begin by healing from within. Each week here, we bring you entertaining information that can help you make you better so you can live your best life. Today, I have back on the show Dr. Edwin Floyd of Cuvius over in Nampa, Idaho. Dr. Floyd, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Nice to be back.
So what is Cuvius? And so if they haven't listened to you before, you've been on several of my shows. Tell us a little about your background and what do you do?
Cuvius, Quantum Veritas International University System is a teaching institution with a healing arts center attached to it, basically. We're launching actually a new series of a brand new healthcare professional trained to grow health as opposed to treat disease. So we're moving away from natural medicine, alternative medicine, holistic medicine, all the other forms of medicine, and we're going strictly into healing. And the major distinction is that healing is dynamic and vitalistic. It's working with the unseen animating part of a being as opposed to the biochemical reactions that take place in the animating process. So we're going to be starting courses and teaching people in that, and that's what we do here. We see patients and we teach people.
Okay, so to summarize, if I've got an issue in my body, if I've got some soreness or not feeling well, don't have the energy, not sleeping well, that's the healing part that you do individually with individuals. And then you teach other people, and that could be anyone, to come through your university.
Yes, and I think everybody in Treasure Valley, you got a lot of natural medical people, naturopaths, people doing all kinds of natural things. But if you come in with a symptom, they're going to basically do something to take the symptom away, where our focus is to strengthen the body so that the body itself takes the symptom away. So we do not treat anything. We don't cure or heal anything. We get the body strong enough so that it can take care of itself. Our whole philosophy is that the power that made the body will heal and maintain the body if you do the work.
Awesome. And So I know, for example, with me, you've given me some, would you call them remedies?
Homeopathic remedies, basically, yes.
Homeopathic remedies. I've been seeing you, I think, for about a year, 6 months, year, I can't remember.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Does it help with memory?
Time flies.
Time flies. So I want to just and again, I'm going to list all the different episodes you've talked in, because you've hit on a lot of these different things. Episode 61, 148, 186, and 203. And we've talked about a lot of different and I'll put all this in the show notes for those of you listening on the radio. You'll find links at wholebodydetoxshow.com, which is found on our website, livingwaterscleanse.com, or wherever you get your podcast. You can always go to that podcast link, Whole Body Detox Show, put it in, you'll find us, and you can search for those. And I'll put all the related episodes in this episode that we're having today. So I remember years ago, and I know we got more to talk about healing the whole body naturally, but you do homeopathy. And what is striking to me is that I have a mother who had some issues, and we went to a traditional MD, and they were in there about maybe 3 minutes, and they were writing prescriptions and say, here you go. And the nurse will come in and take care of you. And I thought that's strikingly different from a visit with Dr. Edwin Floyd, because a minimum with you is about an hour.
Yes.
Why? Why is it an hour versus what are you doing?
Medically, they're looking for the facts, because their whole goal is to suppress the expression of your symptoms.
Right.
So, where's it hurt? What's it do? How's it been? Then they put it in the quick category, and then they give you something that will prevent the symptoms from being expressed. It's not going to do anything for you, but it's going to suppress your symptoms.
So we haven't got the root cause, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, because on the other hand, I've got to interrogate you basically to find out what is it about you, what's going on with you, what's causing your body to behave that way. Now, medical doctors are basically acute trained, that we're more chronically oriented, so we're dealing with things that have come on over time, things that have come on in a short period of time. Usually are better and quite often trained medically.
Mm-hmm.
So the less time you have, the more medicine you need. The more time you have, the more healing you need. This is why medicine doesn't cure. There's no cure, because the whole point of it is palliation.
Mm-hmm.
So you have something, they make you feel good, but you still have it.
Mm-hmm.
Until you ultimately die from it or whatever. Our goal is to tap into that dynamic, animating process that we all have if we're alive, refocus it, and then shepherd you as you move through the journey of healing.
Well, and that's a great point. Today I was talking to a client that was in, and he had some issues going on. And I said, how long has this been going on? He says, about 10 years ago. And I says, what happened 10 years ago in your life? He says, what was there a stressful event? What was going on? He says, well, not really. 15 years ago, for sure, there was a stressful event. And so we talked about that a little bit, but maybe that's that emotional component took a few years for it to really express itself into the issue that's going on with him. Would that be what you're discovering, right?
Yes, because the animating process, that part of us that's animated, comes from the realm of eternity. It's not time-based. I mean,
Whoa. Back up here. You just said something very profound. From time, eternity. What do you mean by that?
That means that whatever it is, we call it the great ineffable. That's something that we know we're alive, we experience life, but we really don't know where it comes from. There are faithing, spiritual, religious things that we believe in,
right?
But we have no actual scientific data that says this is where it is.
Right.
And it's something that you choose to believe, however you choose to believe it. But it is eternal. It is something that it is, and it always will be, as far as we know. And so when in that dynamic, energetic, animating process, when it's moving and it's unlimited, it's unaltered, it's freely flowing, you have this exchange between your body and this this animating process, which we call the being, and it sets up a body being ratio. So this thing flows in sync with one another. And when it's in sync, it is flowing freely. That's what we call wellness. It's this free flowing exchange. Now, when something happens that causes this body being ratio to no longer function with ease, that's what we call dis-ease.
Yeah.
And that has signs and symptoms, which we ultimately call disease. And then medically, we prevent the expression of that dis-ease through medicine. Whereas we don't want to suppress those symptoms and signs. We want to reorganize this body being ratio, which is a dynamic process, which is why we use with the Healing Arts Center homeopathic remedies. Now, homeopathy itself has gone a little off because it's using the homeopathic remedies as a therapeutic. We're using the homeopathic remedy as a dynamic. So
what do you mean by dynamic? What's that mean?
That means we're using it to interact with that interchange between your body being ratio. It's going to go in there and refocus it so that, again, it returns to ease. See, once you stimulate the body being ratio, it sets off a process we call the physis process. In nature, that physis process naturally moves towards normal. It's like when sperm meets egg, it sets off a process, and that process starts moving towards normal. Now, things can go awry that can disrupt that process, but all things being the same and everything coming out well, that dynamic process, physis process, that starts off with the union of sperm and egg culminates in a healthy being. This we see you put a seed in the ground with some fertile dirt and some water and some sunlight, and the seed takes off and naturally grows into a healthy. It is the way nature moves. Nature naturally moves towards normal. So we don't have to treat you. All we have to do is refocus your dynamic, and your body knows inherently what to do to make itself well. And that's what.
But another analogy, I had a thought in my head. Tell me if I'm right or wrong on this analogy. So back years ago, when I was growing up, we had these snowmobiles, and they weren't necessarily as great as the snowmobiles are today. They take a little coaxing to get started. Sometimes it'd be cold. We'd put a little ether in the carburetor, and we'd get it going. Is that a similar analogy, or am I off?
No, well, you can say that the ether will be the homeopathic remedy. It gives you that spark, that bump.
Yeah.
That boost it needs to get going. Then once the engine runs, the engine takes off and does what it
take off, no problem.
Yeah, but you got to get it jumping, and that's what is happening. And so today, medically, they're looking at bugs, beasties, and viruses, etc. We're looking at energetic, what we call dynamic toxins: anger, fear, grief, guilt. Those are the things that tend to throw our body being ratio off. And so you've got to retone that. Now, once that gets we see it all the time. Grief.
So would this be, so you talk about grief, you talk about anger. So if I'm someone who's perpetually angry, maybe I went through a divorce or I've had a death where I'm grieving. And then all of a sudden now something crops up, like maybe shingles, for example. It's caused by stress, right? So I'm carrying normally that virus would lay dormant. You get a stressful event, now it's brought forward. And that's an energetic, that's what you're talking about. The energetic is causing that to express into the physical, causing you to pay attention.
So that virus is vibrating at a certain resonant frequency, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
If your body is vibrating at a higher, stronger frequency, that virus cannot affect you.
Right.
This is why when you get sick, you catch a cold. It's because all those things that you're breathing all the time, as long as you're vibrating at a higher frequency, those things don't affect you. That's why some people get sick and others don't.
Well, it's I get calls here all the time, Living Waters. Hey, I'm sick today. Should I not come in? I go, no, get in. Let's clean out the body and let's get you well. Let's get those toxins out of your body so that you have the ability to heal. Don't worry about us. We are on these clinic beds all the time. We're doing all the things.
Yeah, I get those calls. It's kind of funny. I don't feel good. I don't want to come in today. What do you come in when you're well? You're perfectly healthy to come.
I know it is. It's kind of an oxymoron.
It's kind of fun. It's just people don't. That's why we do our talks. The first Saturday of every month, we do the talks at the CAP. Yeah, those are really turning out. Those are incredible. I'm really enjoying.
Well, Greg, tell the audience when you speak at the CAP Ed in Nampa on which street?
On 12th Avenue Road.
12th Avenue Road, CAP Ed.
Capital Ed Credit Union. They have a beautiful community room, that meeting room that they are so gracious to allow us to use for an hour, and we talk about this stuff because I can't expect people, when they have they're medically or they grew up with medicine and drugs. You get a symptom, you take a drug, and it's hard to do. And on busy days when we're so busy, it's hard to really explain it to people because you got people waiting. You've got to get moving, and so I've done this before. We've just started doing it again a few months ago. Do come 1 hour and we talk about these things. You can ask questions.
First
12,
Saturday.
First Saturday, 2 to 3. From 2 to 3.
2 to 3, first Saturday of the month. Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to take up your whole Saturday. It's just, right. I understand that. I don't want to do that. But then you have an exchange and you keep coming. You get the idea of what we're doing because we're not natural medicine. We are not naturopaths.
I got to tell you, we went, I thought this was funny during COVID. If you're feeling under the weather, don't come in the medical offices. I thought, huh?
But we're dynamic vitalistic. My training, I'm medical. My training is as a chiropractor, and I'm licensed as a chiropractor in California. I'm licensed as an acupuncturist here in Idaho. But collectively, I am a semiatrist. I practice what is called semiatry, and semiatry is the application of 5 fundamental laws of healing. Healing is done by laws. It's not done by therapeutics, not by drugs or vitamins or minerals or herbs. These things are used, but every time you do something, you're actually applying a law. And there are 5 of these laws. And you have to be able to appropriately apply these laws. And the outcome, whatever it is you're doing, is based on the appropriate or inappropriate application and utilization of a law. If you've got snake bite or you've got poisoning or something, I'm not sure if homeopathic remedies is the best application. It's a very good law, but not in that setting.
We've been talking with Dr. Edwin Floyd of Cuvius, QVIUS.org. You can reach him at 208-342-4215. If you miss any parts of the show, you can catch everything over at the podcast, Whole Body Detox Show, or go over to livingwaterscleanse.com and you'll see the links to our podcast there. Plus, I got hundreds of videos of success stories of people just like you who have suffered from some kind of illness in their body because of the inflammation. And what we do well at Living Waters is we get rid of the toxicity by getting rid of the heavy metals and the parasites and all those chemicals that's been sitting in your body. When we do that, then you go apply something like homeopathy to stimulate that body, give it that little push, if you will, to nurture you forward. It's a great 1-2 punch. So combining the two together, let's clean out the body first and then go see Dr. Floyd and he'll give you the right remedy that you need to stimulate your body to get well, because your body wants to get well. We'll be back in a moment. Once in a lifetime, a healing tool comes across your path that can really change the ability for the body to heal naturally and quickly. We have found such a tool, and it has changed the way my family lives and how our clients at Living Waters are helping to heal their body. It's called phototherapy, and phototherapy is the ability of your body using waves of light to turn on your body's ability to make its own stem cells. No surgeries, just simply a little Band-Aid sized patch that can activate your body to make stem cells. As you age, you're producing less and less stem cells, and by age 60, you're making none. So when it comes to healing and repairing, it is a long, long process. We can now speed that process up by using phototherapy. Go over to stemcellpatch.net and watch the videos there. And go ahead and try these patches for a few months. These patches have helped so many of our clients reverse pain, help to speed up the healing, sleep better, and on and on. You'll see some of the testimonials over there. It's an amazing little tool that you should be using right now. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day, you can now be increasing your body's ability to make the stem cells on its own. Stemcellpatch.net or call the office at 208-3789-911. Nothing is more exciting than seeing a client shed their diseases and symptoms caused from accumulated toxins, from the chemicals in our foods, the clothes we wear, and the air we breathe, than by cleansing through colon hydrotherapy and treating the whole body naturally. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
Hi, my name is Anna Lewis, and I came to do the 10-day cleanse after my husband did it. And I'm fairly healthy, pretty healthy. I have 6 children, and I came because I hadn't been feeling really well, and I wanted to up my game on cleansing and trying to get my body back in shape where I could be especially healthy to be there for my family. My sister passed away of cancer a few years ago, and that scared me because we were a lot alike. And so I just wanted to get into something that I could cleanse, get rid of parasites and toxins in my body. And I feel like I've done that. And I feel a ton more energy. I feel like I have lost some weight and my skin is clear. I don't have the stomach pains I was having before I came in. The emotional stuff we went through, I guess I'm pretty bad at holding things in. The emotional tools that we learned about and did, those were a great help. So thank you very much, Living Waters.
My name's Richard. I come to Living Waters because I was low on energy and for my memory, and I've accomplished both. Living Waters did it for me. Thank you, Living Waters.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to livingwaterscleanse.com, click on the link 4 Natural Laws of Healing, and watch the video and check out the hundreds of clients who healed from their symptoms under the Success Stories tab, or call the office at 208-3789-911. That's 208-3789-911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience, may not be right for you. Talk to a healthcare professional to see if cleansing is right for you. Welcome back to the show. David DeHaas with Living Waters Wellness Center, livingwaterscleanse.com. You can reach us at 208-3789-911. We're the masters at detoxifying and cleansing out your body. Let's get rid of those heavy metals, those parasites. All those things are creating inflammation, which creates your dis-ease in the body. No matter what label you want to put on your dis-ease, it got there because of inflammation caused by toxicity. Let's just do the simple thing and reverse that. And today we're talking with Dr. Floyd, and he can tell you about how homeopathy works. And homeopathy is a great way to kind of stimulate the body to get back to its innate self, which it does very well. We continue with the show here. You can always reach Dr. Floyd at 208-342-4215.
You know, but if you've got a long-term condition and you're constantly drugging it, I don't know if that law of contraries is the most appropriate law. So there are no good or bad laws. What makes it good or bad is the appropriate or inappropriate application of the laws. And we stay in our lane. We don't try to treat things. We're not curing anything. And we say that. We let our patients know that we don't do that. And it takes a minute for them to get it. But once they have it, they've got it. And they're not going anywhere. This is what they want to do. Mm-hmm. But because we're dealing with a spiritual dynamic, it's almost like ministry, you know. I mean, you're dealing with an aspect, that unseen part of people that they themselves don't know. Because healing basically is a dynamic detoxification process. That's really all it is. The body detoxifies itself and repairs the damage. That's what you do.
Right.
You facilitate detoxification, and once the body is detoxified, the body naturally repairs the damage. Mm. We do it dynamically, so we're dealing more with the spiritual, mental, emotional component to it, not as much on the physical plane. You're dealing with more of the physical plane, but the thing is, they continue. It's a continuum. Right. So you can't impact the physical plane without impacting the spiritual dynamic plane. You don't impact the spiritual dynamic plane without impacting the physical plane. It's a continuum, and that's what the Somayatri program that we're teaching is all about. You know, you got these people out here doing, selling all these products and all of that, but they really don't understand the dynamics of life, health, healing, and wellness.
Well, it'd be like telling someone to take probiotics, but they're still drinking wine and alcohol
and doing the whole thing, the whole lifestyle,
and eating dairy, and I mean, you're just putting all the fungus you can into your body at the
Yeah.
same time you're wanting to take a probiotic and expect it to change.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen.
They and this is what they do. They add these things and they're taking these things and they want to take a drug of something to suppress the symptoms that occurs because of those things.
Yeah.
And they call that, taking care of themselves.
Well, it's interesting, being involved in, what we do here, our 10-day healing retreat, seeing and getting response back from the clients who've come in here with whatever it be, whether it be sore joints or something severe like Parkinson's or ALS or whatever, or brain fog, whatever it is. There's always an old unresolved emotion that pops up. I take them through a process, and those unresolved emotions pop up. And for some people, they didn't remember them at all.
Right.
It's been something that happened when they were a teenager or young adulthood, or when they were children. And it's interesting to see how that really affects the body. I mean, I remember a gal years ago. She came in here severely constipated. And I said, when this began? 2007. I said, what was going on then? She says, well, I got deployed to Iraq then. I says, well, do you think that could have been a little bit of a traumatic event? Yeah.
But I mean, I have all the time, people lose loved ones, they, or they're losing their job right now. Politics is really making a lot of people sick. They're so caught up in this whole, whatever it is, it's overwhelming. And so the purpose of their lives now shift from something that is joyful and painless into something that is overwhelming.
Yeah. I think that was part of my dad's, I say early demise, two traumatic events. One, some people trying to steal his property. Yeah. And two, he was just so fed up with the craziness of what's happened the last 4 years.
Yeah.
With COVID and what happened at his church. I mean, he was just so upset. I said, Dad, watch Gunsmoke. Watch people killing each other in Gunsmoke. That's so much easier than what you're doing.
Well, this is what this isn't. So people, life itself is making people sick, which is why we talking about teleosis. You got to refocus your life and get back on a fundamental purpose and meaning of your life.
Say that again. Teleosis?
Teleosis, Teliosis.
Okay.
It's the Greek word, which is the meaning and purpose. It is the striving towards perfection, the execution of your life. What is your life about? Because people don't. This is why I'm seeing people are overwhelmed. It's because they have no idea what they're doing. They get up, they go to work to a job they hate. They, dread. They wake up with dread because they've got to go and spend a third of their day in a dreadful environment. Then they come home, do some grocery shopping, run a few errands, eat a little bit, maybe watch a little TV, and they go to bed, and they get up and wake up with dread and start all over again. There is no intentional focus in their life.
Yeah. How do you get them turned around from that? That's a big deal. I mean, they just can't go out and change their job tomorrow.
They've been in the job
25 years. They've got a pension. They've got whatever. They don't want to leave that job. They want to hold on, play it safe. How do you get them to refocus and?
Well, first you have to get something in your life that you are living for.
Okay.
So your job is not your life. Your job is your way of supporting your life. But if you have no focused purpose and meaning in your life, then all you have is your job. Because once you get something you're doing and your job is now the resource that provides you the funds, the resources to do whatever your teleosis is, now you've gained a different perspective and appreciation for your job. Because without it, you wouldn't be able to be on point. You wouldn't be able to be on mission. People who have missions in their purpose and focus. Former President Jimmy Carter, he just died about a month or so ago.
Lived to be 100.
100 years old, but look what the man did. I mean, they were talking, about his life, and he's doing it Habitat, and he's going around, and he's helping people with some worm in Africa. There was a infestation, people were dying. I mean, he lived a purposely driven life.
Yeah, local contractor here, he posted on Facebook, I know this contractor, and he met Jimmy Carter back in the late 1990s when Carter was in New York building some of these homes. And Scott was there as well. And it was interesting. You're right. My grandmother lived to be 105. And I came away one day with the aha moment. Because at the end of her life, I think for the last 3 or 4 years, she'd ran out of money and they put her in the local nursing home. And immediately she kind of changed, she took control and she changed things. First of all, no one eats until we say a prayer. But my grandmother was happy. She would sing, Jesus loves me, this I know. You go down the road talking to her. She's always just smiling. She'd have a little pink peppermint. She had those peppermints. I don't know if they still make it or not, but she'd have those. You want a peppermint? And then she'd just break out in song. I mean, she was, fairly sharp.
Yeah.
But she was happy.
Yes.
My grandfather, her husband, on the other hand, at age 80, worked hard his whole life and decided one day, I'm gonna check myself in the hospital. I'm ready to go. And he went in the hospital, and everyone was like, "What's going?" He had a few things going on, but it wasn't big. And he says, "I've had a great life. I'm ready to go." And sure enough, in about 10 days, he died.
That's my mom, very similar. My mom, she made her transition. She was 103.
Wow. And
her best friend of 70, 80, I mean, as long as I knew her, because she was almost like a second mother. It was my mother's best friend. She died the year before my mom at 102.
Wow.
And I think that the fact that once she went, life wasn't fun anymore.
Yeah.
And this is it. I mean, look, 100 years old, that's great. But what if you're 60, 70, 80 years old and you have no purpose and meaning in your life?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm watching where my family member is now in that facility, and there's some people you can just see it. They're just hanging on. Just, what am I doing?
Yeah, and I mean, that's so, and I see people, like, once you spark that crisis process, people, things start coming out you never knew.
Yeah.
Regrets, resentment, things that happen in childhood, because we're dealing with an eternal timeline. So something that happened even 40, 50 years ago, that vital force is like it just happened. It doesn't age, because it's still right there. And that, what we call morbific stimulant, that it's there on your vital force until it is resonated out. That's what I love so much about the homeopathy. I haven't found anything that moves and reorganizes that remedy, that vital force, as efficiently as the homeopathic remedy.
What do you do when you get someone that's got stage 4 cancer and walks in your door and they're saying, can you help me out, doc? What do you do then?
David, I'll give you a story. This must have been 10, 12 years ago. And I had referred me a patient who had cancer. And she called me up wanting to know. She told me her whole story, and she had cancer there. And I told her that I don't really treat cancer people at the time. And the woman threatened to sue me.
What?
Yeah.
Threatened to sue you because you wouldn't see her?
She was suing me for discrimination.
Whoa.
Because I was discriminating against her. She didn't want me to cure or treat her cancer. She wanted me to do what I could to make her healthy. And I was withholding my services from her because of a medical diagnosis. And she threatened to sue me over it. And I never forget, I thought about it all weekend. It was like a Thursday, Friday, and I thought, but when I thought about it, David, she was kind of right. She didn't, I think that's really when I changed in my whole thinking of treating things. What am I really doing? I'm not treating. There's no special vitamins and herbs and formulas. I know billions of dollars are made out of that stuff. But really what we do here is grow health, create an environment like a plant. We create an environment conducive to you. That's why it takes an hour at a time to find. It's all about you, not your condition. And start a process that naturally is going to move towards normal. Now, do cancer people, they get better. Do I get them better? No. But I think their attitude, their personality, their feeling, their hope, their love, their joy, when all of that starts changing, now the remedies, the nutrients that we use and all of that, helps to create a wholesome environment, but it doesn't treat or cure anything. David, you go back to like Genesis. You go back, the Genesis story in the beginning and all the creation stuff.
Right.
Do you know that the human being was the only creature that had to be that was created, specifically breathed into, and placed in a specifically planted environment? Birds of the air went in the air, fish of the sea went in the sea, beasts of the field went in the field. But when it came to the human being, there was a specific, particular environment that was placed in that to maintain that environment. Because that is how we were intended to live. We weren't intended to live like the fish and the beast and the birds, and totally different. And that concept is the concept that we use. We go with that. Create the environment that was initially created for us, put you in there, and let that, whatever you want to call it, do its thing. We just call it the physis process. And people grow themselves. Now, as they're growing themselves, and the body has to detoxify. So it detoxifies spiritually. You have to be reconciled with truth. That's what spiritual work, that's what spiritual healing is. Now, your Alcoholic Anonymous and all your anonymous programs understand this. You got to come to the point where you accept the fact that, hey, those cigarettes will kill you. That alcohol will kill you. The gambling, whatever it is, you have to accept that. That is reconciliation with truth. That is the spiritual part.
Why are we afraid to do that?
Because we've been told that we're just filthy scum. Filthy, wretched scum, that only something as massive as the Almighty could possibly love us. So we inherently don't feel good about ourselves.
Yeah. That's sure playing out today in our political world all around us.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. You're under attack. We're under attack. They're out to get you. So we're made vulnerable.
The epiphany I had years ago, I went to church as a kid, and when I came to college, I didn't really go to church until I got married. I was probably forced to. We had a baby. My wife says, "We're going to church." Okay. But it was not really an exciting experience, but I got into it. I started, reading, and grew up in a Protestant church, and then so on. And but one day I was sitting there, and I'm looking around the room, and you can tell that about 80% of the people, maybe 90% of the people, probably higher, to me, as okay, pull out your hymnals and sing. And it was just drudgery. It was just half the people weren't singing. The choir was singing. Yeah. Everyone's like looking at their watch. When we get out of here? And then it kind of dawned on me. It's like, God, there's no joy in this facility.
Well, because we're totally sinners.
It's been like it's something I got told by this one gal when my wife fell. I couldn't go to church. I was 24/7 taking care of my wife. You got to go to church, David. If you don't go to church, you're gonna die and go to hell.
And go into hell. What? Yeah. And this is where now, but that you have to understand that the church was built on illiteracy. The whole purpose, most of the people who were believers, they were not necessarily believing in the power of the Almighty. They were believing in what someone was telling them.
Mm.
Back in the day, only the priests could read.
Yeah, that's true.
Or only the nobles. And the common man, the commoners didn't read. They were illiterate. And so you were told this, and there were liberties taken with that. Just believe me, do what I tell you, or go to hell. That was kind of the you're not going to have that today, where you're in the information age, where you tell somebody something. I give a person a remedy, they're looking it up. They're calling me up. Wow, that remedy looks just like what I see that, they know right away. And everybody is struggling with for information.
How do you get your clients? How do you get your clients to joy, though? I mean, they come in, they're hurting, they've got some kind of issue. How do you get them to that joy so that they can?
Well, the
vibrational frequency helps them heal. How do you do that?
The remedy sparks it, and the physis kicks in, and they start moving in that direction, and then you then shepherd them. You keep them in a joyful, it's very tricky because a lot of detoxification. So joy isn't immediate. That's something that you culminate into that. They have a lot of anger, fear, grief, guilt, resentment, a lot of animosity. Sometimes there's a lot of issues and a lot of life changes, divorces, job changes, location changes. You see people as their lives unravel, as what we call the delusion melts away, and so what we do is, instead of medical care, it's more like pastoral care.
Well, it's interesting. The remedy you gave me when did you give me a remedy? First one, July, was it? All I noticed was this. I just noticed a couple of things. I noticed my energy. It was very subtle. I just one day is like, oh, huh. I'm sleeping a bit better and my energy is more steady. And my body temperature. The last 2 winters, I've wore long underwear from November to dang near May. I haven't even put any long underwear on this year. I would go out. It's been 5-10 degrees. Yesterday, I took the dog out to go to the bathroom. I didn't have a coat on. I was like,
yeah,
wow. Well, that's different.
Too.
I haven't had that for a number of years.
I remember wrapping up so much I could barely walk. I had so much stuff on, and I just went out. Did some local shopping, and for the first time in a while, I put some long underwear on, which I haven't done. We were kind of laughing about it, but that's because your vital force is resonating at a higher frequency.
Yeah, and
that's where your energy
took that stimulation, like the ether, if you will, the carburetor analogy, a little bit of ether to get the body,
and it gets the humming
in the right direction.
And it knows what to do, so it just starts doing that, and then that's when the symptoms and all that starts going on. That's what we do. We get people on, we get them into a seasonal. So we see you like once a season. That's 4 times a year. Takes about a season. If you go much further than that, you start. I haven't been able to get much further than that because people are just too sick, and there's too much morbific stimuli, too much negativity around. If you're stuck out there in the world too much without some boosting.
Do you act as their therapist, or do you send them to therapy or to counseling?
I have counselors. I send them to counselor. I'm not a counselor. I do marital counseling. I do counseling. People come in with their marital problems and things, and I help them I do whatever I can to get them towards that joy, because people who come into us for the first time begin to feel what it's like to be joyful and painless. Then they're resenting the fact that they've gone all this time and not feeling that way, and how they've been lied to, and then the church didn't know it. It's just all this stuff, and you have
a lot of blame,
and you got to get them stay focused on that. Once you start to find the joy, stay focused on the joy, and don't let it, don't alter it.
Great point. You're probably familiar with the story of, I think it was Dr. Norman Cousins. I did a show on him about him, I don't know, 3 years ago. But he laughed his way to health. He had some serious illness, and he rented movies and just started laughing. And I thought, oh my gosh, that's just so appropriate, because, you take liver cancer. Liver, they say, is anger, all about the anger.
Right.
And, my dad, he had before he passed, about 1.5 years before he passed, he had a really bad kidney stone. I says, well, what are you pissed off about? Well, I already knew. He was pissed off about COVID and Biden and the people trying to steal his land, which I don't blame him, right?
Well, I get it. I mean, everybody, I see it. Fortunately, I see so much anger coming here with the patients. It keeps me focused on my joy. I refuse to, Biden this, Trump that, and all that. I don't care. At the end of the day, I'm going to live my life joyfully and painlessly anyway. I don't care. I believe in a power much higher than greater than any of them. And I'm not going to let anybody, because you have to understand this, remember this, whatever it is that you allow to dictate your behavior, that is your God.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, years ago, I went down the conspiracy rabbit hole, and I realized there was these separate phases, right? There's one, don't tell me, I don't want to hear anymore. Then there's disbelief, and then there's the questioning, and then there's anger, and then there's joy. Because at the end of the day, you get right, you know what? It's not in my hands. There's all this crazy stuff going on, which we've all learned. All those conspiracies are now true, been proven. But I was just, speaking of which, during this last presidential, run, I mean, I would watch that candidate and I would just start laughing. And other people get so upset about it. Says, "Oh my God, this is the funniest stuff. Who can sit and talk like this? These word salads. This is hilarious stuff." Yeah, she's running for president. She says, yeah. She's not going to. Anyway, I just find you have to laugh sometimes, and you just got to laugh this stuff away.
I just don't. I historically I've always allotted 1 hour a day to watch the news because my father, like back in the day, everybody was a Cronkite guy. You had to watch Cronkite.
Oh yeah,
5 o'clock.
That's the way it was.
And my father was one of those, and so he kind of put that in. So I try to watch it, and so I've always kind of allocated an hour a day for the news. I don't even get through that. I get about 20 minutes, and I find myself doing other stuff.
Well, we pulled the TV out of the home in 2000. My wife came home and she sat down and she's watching this program, and then they went into this whole half hour of propaganda, and she thought, "Oh my God, I need to get that drug." And then she said to her, "What the heck? I would never get that drug." Okay, we're pulling this out. So and we pulled it out. We had a fancy satellite dish, hundreds of channels, and we yanked it out. And I haven't had a television. Someone the other day was talking about KIVI, and I had to think for a moment. KIVI, what the hell's that? Because I haven't watched local television for so long.
I mean, that's where it is. But our whole ministry, if you will, our healing ministry is about getting people to the point of joy and painlessness and shepherding, keeping them there.
Do you suggest they come get a colonic and get some of that debris out of their colon?
Absolutely. What goes in, got to come out. And I'm dealing with the dynamic part. I only feed people. I address their malnutrition, just crap they're eating, And I must be impressed, though. I mean, even our patients are doing better. They're making wiser choices. I'm not saying, I mean, for a while there, we had the vaping phase and we had all this. I'm seeing patients they're really reading labels, looking at things better. I mean, so it's happening. It's happening.
So when someone comes to you, I know you ask a lot of questions and some you repeat, and that's just for you to just really dig out what is really going on deep within.
Yes, because patients come in, and because dynamic healing is so subtle. Like my little granddaughter's taller than her mother now. And I mean, when did that happen? I remember she was like 2-3 years old. She was hanging around my knees. Now she's just about looking me in the eye. I mean, when did that happen? Because nature happens, and you don't, just so people come in and they don't have this dynamic drug reaction with the remedy, and they don't think anything's happening. But then as we go through, this is what you did when you came in. Let me see where you are. They start, wow, that's better. This better. Like you said, all of a sudden you know that you had a little more energy. You're not as, you're a little warmer now. That didn't just happen. It just became. And that's how healing
it wasn't a big bang effect. It wasn't
right.
It isn't like when you have a headache, you take a aspirin, your headache goes. It wasn't like that at all. It was just very.
That's how healing is. Healing
and it just was very
wake up and
gentle.
Wow.
Didn't even notice it was happening until one day it's like, oh,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so when I come in, I repeat those questions, and you'll see people start taking note of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am sleeping better.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, work's not so bad.
Yeah. All right. Check it out. Ladies and gentlemen, we had Dr. Floyd on today. Check all the show notes. We'll put all the other related episodes. I think will be very beneficial for your educational process. Because at the end of the day, who's in charge of your health? You are. And so, Dr. Floyd, thank you for being on. Until next week, my friends, have a blessed week.
Once in a lifetime, a healing tool comes across your path that can really change the ability for the body to heal naturally and quickly. We have found such a tool, and it has changed the way my family lives and how our clients at Living Waters are helping to heal their body. It's called phototherapy, and phototherapy is the ability of your body using waves of light to turn on your body's ability to make its own stem cells. No surgeries, just simply a little Band-Aid sized patch that can activate your body to make stem cells. As you age, you're producing less and less stem cells, and by age 60, you're making none. So when it comes to healing and repairing, it is a long, long process. We can now speed that process up by using phototherapy. Go over to stemcellpatch.net and watch the videos there. And go ahead and try these patches for a few months. These patches have helped so many of our clients reverse pain, help speed up the healing, sleep better, and on and on. You'll see some of the testimonials over there. It's an amazing little tool that you should be using right now. For less than the cost of a cup of coffee per day, you can now be increasing your body's ability to make the stem cells on its own. Stemcellpatch.net or call the office at 208-3789-911.
Nothing is more exciting than seeing a client shed their diseases and symptoms caused from accumulated toxins from the chemicals in our foods, the clothes we wear, and the air we breathe, and by cleansing through colon hydrotherapy and treating the whole body naturally. Here's what a few clients had to say about their experience at Living Waters Wellness Center.
My name's Richard. I come to Living Waters because I was low on energy and for my memory, and I've accomplished both. Living Waters did it for me. Thank you, Living Waters.
My name's Tig. I came to Living Waters about a year ago. So I'm a contractor. I run pretty hard when I'm working, and come to realize that I found myself with kind of a seasonal affective disorder, being depressed, lack of energy when the season slowed down. And since beginning the 10-day healing retreat, I've also come to realize that I was using just the repetitious behavior of coming home and having a beer every night as kind of a coping mechanism. But through this retreat, I think one of the biggest things that I've gained is that self-confidence and kind of the love of myself to be able to work on that and find the strength there. And in addition to straightening out the physical side of my body, the mental side has been equal, if not as great. And it's also allowed me to take time to reconnect with my spiritual side as well. Thank you, Living Waters.
To learn more about the 10-day healing retreat, go to livingwaterscleanse.com, click on the link 4 Natural Laws of Healing, and watch the video and check out the hundreds of clients who healed from their symptoms under the Success Stories tab. Or call the office at 208-3789-911. That's 208-3789-911. The preceding examples may not be typical of your experience, may not be right for you. Talk to a healthcare professional to see if cleansing is right for you.